Let's be honest, NHL fans have never been completely happy with the current division setup. The rivalries don't always make sense, the travel can be brutal for some teams, and some matchups that we should be seeing more often just don't happen enough. For years, hockey fans have been tossing around ideas on how to fix this, dreaming up new divisions that would bring back the intensity of classic rivalries, cut down on cross continent road trips, and maybe even spark some brand new grudges. So in this video, I will be diving right into this debate, and I'll be providing you a fresh divisional realignment strategy that the NHL could possibly use in order to make their divisions a lot more friendlier on travel time, reignite some old rivalries, and maintain the existing rivalries as well. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's dive right into it. Hey there guys, so as you can see, this is the map of the NHL as it is right now with 32 teams as of 2025 between Canada and the United States. Before I actually get into the content about this realignment strategy, however, we need to just clarify some details. So first off, there will be some key assumptions that will be made in this video. Number one, there's going to be a 36 team league. So we're going to assume that the NHL will expand a little bit further and that 36 will be the maximum number of teams that the league expands to. So there will be 4 expansion teams that will be included in this video. I will explain which cities those teams will be based in, and I'll briefly explain why those teams are in place with regards to the divisions. Number 2, we're going to just stick with the same playoff formats. There will be no discussion regarding the playoff qualification system. As much as I would like to get into why the wildcard format is just not great, I'm not going to get into that in this video, and that deserves probably a separate video on its own. So please keep that in mind. And last but not least, we're going to assume that the NHL wants to continue emphasizing divisional matchups. And with that being said, we need to take into consideration the geography of NHL teams, and that is a primary goal of this realignment strategy, and that is to geographically align as many teams as possible and cut down on travel times in order to support the rivalries between these clubs. So first off, we have what I'm going to call the Seaboard Division. So the main point here is that all of these teams will be based on the Eastern Seaboard. So as you can see, this is a combination of current Atlantic Division and Metro Division teams. So we've got the 2 Florida teams, we've got the 2 New York teams, Boston, Washington, New Jersey, Carolina, plus one of those expansion teams I was talking about. I think this makes a lot of sense. I mean, all these teams are in the same time zone. This probably favors those in the Northeast a little bit more because they are in close proximity to one another, and the Southern teams are at a bit of a disadvantage here, but this is really the closest you can get. With regards to the expansion team, I am saying that they're going to be in Atlanta. I just put the Thrashers logo here as a placeholder, but I really do think that the NHL is looking at bringing back a team to Atlanta, and considering the interest with regards to prospective buyers and how the league has already met with these buyers in Atlanta regarding expansion, it really does seem like we are going to get a 3rd team in Georgia. The previous 2 teams failed for different reasons. I think if a 3rd team's in place, you have a strong owner in there. From a divisional standpoint, Atlanta acts as a nice bridge between Carolina and the Florida teams. And so as a team in the South, it would make sense to have this division set up the way it is. Next, we have the Central Division. So this is going to be the other division in the Eastern Conference. As you can see, this is going to have a combination of Canadian teams and American teams. Most of the teams left here are from the Atlantic Division. So we've got Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. We have one expansion team as well being included here. We also have Buffalo, Detroit, the 2 Pennsylvania teams in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and Columbus. With regards to the expansion team, that is going to be also based in Toronto. In my opinion, I think that Toronto should probably get a 2nd team. I mean, there's enough hockey fans in southwestern Ontario as it is that you can easily put a 2nd team in that market and they should thrive no problem, especially if they decide to, get closer with the blue collar crowd and the fans that probably can't afford tickets to Leafs games, or fans who decide to cross the US border into like Buffalo or Detroit to watch games over there. And sure, it might, get into the Leafs' bottom line a little bit, but at the end of the day, they have enough money as it is that it shouldn't be a problem for them. And if New York can host two teams, then why can't Toronto do the same thing, right? But as you could tell, most of these teams are based around the Great Lakes, and with regards to proximity and travel time, this might be the best division with regards to this entire strategy here. Most of these cities are somewhere between a 1 and 2 hour flight between each other, so it's very close travel. And I mean, you've already got some existing rivalries here, so we are going to be able to maintain those rivalries and perhaps ignite them even further. So, we got Toronto, Montreal, we got the Pennsylvania teams, Toronto, Buffalo, for example. So I think this division might be the most clear-cut example of trying to geographically align the NHL as a whole. Now, moving to the Western Conference, this division honestly is basically a carbon copy of the Pacific Division. I couldn't see any other way of putting these teams in a different format because I think that it's already pretty well set up. You basically have two clusters of teams on the West Coast. You've got the teams in Canada and Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary alongside of Seattle ever since the Kraken came into the NHL. And you've got all the teams in California plus Vegas, considering that they're basically right in that corner of the United States. I did include the Utah Mammoth in here because technically Utah is close enough to the West Coast that you could put them into that small cluster of teams between Vegas and California, so I think it kind of works out there. And when the team was the Arizona Coyotes, they were originally in the Pacific Division before they moved to the Central, before they relocated. So I think that this is pretty straightforward. This does seem very unoriginal from me. I'm sorry about that, but at the end of the day, there really is no other way you could structure these teams without causing major changes, especially within like the American Midwest and beyond. And that means for our last division, we have what is basically the Midwest division. Honestly, this division, it was hard to realign all of these teams in a way that made the travel time easy. I mean, you've got a lot of big cities here, but they're all like in different corners of the map, so it was really hard to do that. So this is basically like what the Central Division is right now for the Western Conference, but there are two expansion teams, and I chose these teams in particular because they can ignite both new rivalries and also act as a nice bridge to at least try to reduce the travel time a little bit. So as you can see, we have Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Nashville, Chicago, and St. Louis. Those two expansion teams. We have Kansas City and Houston. I chose these two cities in particular because of the fact that they both have professional hockey experience. Kansas City, of course, was a former NHL city at one point back in the 70s. Houston, of course, everyone knows about the Arrows from the WHA, and they had a number of minor league clubs as well over the years. And really, if you think about it, both of these cities should be candidates for an NHL team because you have basically the Scouts would be a very good bridge between Colorado and St. Louis, considering that the states are all pretty much aligned with each other there. And Houston could set up a pretty nice rivalry with the Dallas Stars, considering they're in the same states and it would be in a major market, so it would definitely help out here. Still, the travel time would be really tough for this division, and I totally understand that, but this is pretty much the best I could possibly do here, because you could try to establish this where the teams that are closer to the US-Mexico border could be all in one division, but then that wouldn't really make much sense, and the amount of travel time because of the distance and also the time zones changing, it would just be way too much for anybody to handle. Alright guys, so that is my entire NHL realignment strategy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more about the expansion teams that I talked about, please check out this video right over here and I'll explain those further. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.